On the intro.
I like that. Well, welcome to Cooler Talk with Rhonda and Cynthia. Today we're going to talk about, are you a co creator? And this was Cynthia's idea. I know she has something very specific in mind, and we would be thrilled if you participated in our conversation. And maybe your ideas about co creating and how you're a creator. So, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Cynthia. And the topic is, are you a co creator?
Yeah. I don't know why I was inspired to talk about this today. Well, actually I do know why I was inspired, but I don't know why I was sort of like gripped to talk about this today, but it still feels just as relevant today as it did last week when we were coming up with topic ideas. And not too long ago, I had sort of an epiphany while chatting with my mother about the universe and the way it works and going through some of our struggles in life and talking those out. And I realized there is no me and the universe, that we are extensions of universal source energy. And if that's true, that means everything is an extension of source energy, which means that we are co creating. This is the dance, and sometimes we're in the groove and we can figure out what the beat is, and sometimes we step on each other's toes. And sometimes we step on each other's toes more than we get in the groove. And I just felt like that was something that was really important. It alleviated something for me. So I thought I would just pause there for a second because I saw you nodding along, Rhonda, and I was wondering if you wanted to interject or
Just
add.
agreeing.
Okay. So then another thing that happened earlier this month, I've been in chats with a good friend at work. And in fact, I learned that she actually ended up working in the Netherlands, which is actually, I've never met her in person, but we feel like we've met in person. And I learned that she ended up in the Netherlands, leaving the States on her way to Australia to do a job there. And while she was flying through Singapore to get to Australia, the pandemic lockdowns happened. And I don't know if any of you remember, but Australia was pretty darn strict with their lockdowns. I mean, you could barely leave your house, let alone the country. In Australia, I mean, it was hard for some people to buy groceries. In fact, I think early on there were stories about elderly women trying to go to the grocery store and getting arrested because they were not allowed to leave their houses. so so she ended up being stranded in Singapore and then in Indonesia for a little while, actually for something like 6 months, before she realized that she was draining her savings accounts and needed some kind of job or something. And so she ended up moving back to the Netherlands to continue her work. So when I met her, it was maybe about just at the tail end of the lockdowns. And as the lockdowns lifted and all of this, she finally said, Cynthia, I am ready to go back to Australia. Like, I need to do this move. And we were talking earlier this month. I'm done with my preamble. We were talking earlier this month, and she's like, Cynthia, I'm ready. Like, what is the deal with the universe? Like, why isn't this happening for me? Why is this so difficult? And she'd been, in discussions with contacts in Australia to sort of make that return. And somehow things just haven't been locking into place or being really easy. And at one point earlier, like I said, a couple weeks ago, I just said to her, I mean, I appreciate you asking me, and I understand your frustration, but why don't you ask the universe? And so she did. Before she went to sleep later that night, she was like, universe, like, I'm not messing around. Like, what's the deal? What's the holdup? I need a sign that you are ready to help me with this. And then she went to sleep. And the next day, she looked in her email inbox, and somebody that she'd been talking to about a job opportunity wrote her back and was like, I'm not going to say her name, so I'll just make it up. Lisa, we're really, like, we're working really hard to fill this position, and we see you as the right candidate for this position, but there's some things that we need to work out on our end. So please bear with us, but don't disappear. And when she called me and told me this about this email that she got from this contact who's hiring down there, I said to her, like, do you realize that, like, the universe delivered? Like, you basically picked up the red line phone and you said, universe, I need confirmation that you're still, doing your thing for me. And the universe delivered. It gave you that confirmation. And she's like, yes, Cynthia, you're right. That's exactly what happened. And I was like, yeah, it's actually because we're not separate from the universe. And I kind of repeated this epiphany that I'd had with my mother just like a couple days earlier. I was like, actually, we all have that red line phone connection with the universe. And everything around us has that red line phone connection. What if we actually realize that? And when we interact with each other, the Rondas, our pet dog Felix, and, all of these co creators in the world, if we all were in contact with each other with that intelligence and deep awareness, wow, what like an amazing planet. What an amazing life experience we could be creating for ourselves. And so I've actually been in a really sort of expansive place thanks to her story, and this epiphany that I got out of, just the conversations that I've been having with people. And so I'm aware as well that they've been co-creators in my deepened awareness about our connection with the universe. So I
There
feel
are
like I've overwhelmed the discussion.
what the first thought that comes to mind is there are no coincidences.
There really aren't, and there's especially no coincidences when we realize that source energy that we're tapped into is our higher vibration interacting with each other's. And as such, we are co-creators. And actually, a really lovely card that came up, I think it was that day or the day following my friend's experience, these famous cards that I've been pulling out.
I
This
received
one,
mine yesterday.
oh, yay! So this one is called We Are All Co-Creators Within a Diverse Universe.
Cool.
And the diversity of the universe is what kind of awakens the desire that brings forth these new ideas. So, like, for net, like this time around, using my friend Lisa's uh, trip to Australia or desire to go to Australia, her failed attempt the first time has only now like emboldened her desire and her commitment to making that move this second time, because it didn't happen. Things fell through. She even told me in other conversations it was really difficult. every step of the way, and that there were some unpleasant people, mainly like bureaucrats and such, who were kind of like putting stones in her way with the visa at that time. That like all of those experiences, they kind of put her off that initial journey. And so by the time she had made it in Indonesia, maybe she thought, no, not maybe, she thought at that time, well, maybe I shouldn't be going to Australia. Maybe this isn't the right move for me. Maybe this is the sign that, I shouldn't be going to Australia. And I think at that time, well, no, actually, I know, and she has confirmed for me that, like, in the 2 years or 3 years that she's been here in Europe, living her life, saving up some money, also like developing her career and furthering her career, she actually is much more excited about this opportunity that she's looking at now with this individual in Australia than she was about that other experience, that other job opportunity that she was going after in Australia 3 years ago. And so that in a way was a co-creation and a realization for her as well, that she actually had to develop certain skills to ready her for the job that she really wants and the experience that she really wants going to Australia now. So now where is she? She's in a holding pattern. And I'm kind of glad to share this part of the story at this time with you all, because I'm convinced in my heart of hearts that she's on her way and that she'll probably be there in November. She's not so sure because she just doesn't have those confirmations. She hasn't gotten her employment letter. She hasn't, received the proper confirmations. But I told her, you know what? You've been spending this year taking out the trash, as you and I have been talking about, Rhonda. You've been actually like having restorative conversations with people that you've been in conflict with this year. She's actually developed, I don't want to say deep friendships, but she's developed trusting relationships with coworkers that she clashed with consistently much earlier. So, like, she has actually been doing the work that she needs to do in order to clean house and, say goodbye to whatever she's leaving behind so that she can actually let the past go or release sort of that old baggage. And so that's why I'm so convinced. That's why I'm so convinced. She's like, and she always says, Cynthia, like, I just love talking to you because you know that this is happening. And I was like, I really do. It's just a matter of time. And I know that like the universe is going to give you a call and you're not going to have time enough to, to do all this dirty work. So that's why you need to do it now. So yeah, that's what
Yeah.
she's doing.
My thought is if we have something that we're driven to do, we can overcome all obstacles to get there. Every obstacle is a lesson to get us to the next step closer. And that's
Yes.
exactly like what she's been going through.
That is. And you know what? Earlier this week on Monday, I actually asked her if we could have a call so that she could review some language that I had written. And she was like, actually, Cynthia, no, I can't because I have to go to the local visa office because she has to, not only does she have to get a criminal background check from the US, which is where she's from, but she also has to get a criminal background check from the Netherlands where she lives because she's been there for more than 2 years. Or I think it's like more than 9 months or 10 months or something. So, and she's like, I didn't know I had to do all this. And I was like, you see, you're taking care of like all the things that you need to take care of because I'm telling you, you're going to get a call and you're going to have to mobilize lickety split. And you heard it from the universe. I'm your co-creator this time, but I'm telling you, like, just do what you got to do what you can do, because you're going to have to mobilize really quickly.
And it all comes from within our own hearts.
It does. It does. And why? Because we're extensions of source energy, and that's where the energy flows directly through our hearts.
Mhm.
And if we remember that, our actions are actually in alignment, and things
Mhm.
are so much easier. And you can maybe move your toe right out of the way before somebody stomps on it.
Mhm. And if somebody does stomp on it, there's a lesson in there to get you to where you want to go.
That's
And
right.
you're gonna be more whole and complete when you get there as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't let those. Yeah, you have to let those view everything as a lesson, as an experience.
Yeah.
Knowledge, that knowledge is power.
Yeah. And, it is an opportunity to awaken understandings in the person who stepped on your foot as well. Just
Mhm.
like my friend has been able to sort of create levels of understanding with people
Mhm.
that, like, there was no understanding with.
Mhm.
Like, and I know, like, I've had people like that where it's just kind of like, geez, like, why are they always getting on my last nerve? Or like, why are they always stomping on my toes? But
Mhm.
it is possible to, you might not become lovers, but it is possible to, like, find that place where you can kind of agree to maybe disagree with each other, but still respect each other. And that's heart led. That's
Well,
totally heart led.
those foot stompers are actually steering you into a different direction.
Yes, that too. Yes.
It's like
Actually, now that you
it's like
mention it,
that. It's like a speed bump. It's like, okay, boink, I'm going, okay, I have to go this way now. This is telling me that I need to shift into a different direction, even if it's ever so slightly. Yeah.
Rhonda, now that you mention it, and I'm really excited about my friend's story. I can't wait till I can come on this show and tell you that she's on her way to Australia. But now that I mention it, there was one foot stomper who was a foot stomper. Actually, she's not an easy person to work with anyway.
Mm.
She's a foot stomper extraordinaire, and they were clashing a lot. I would say around like January, right
Mm.
before Christmas into the new year. They were clashing a lot. They had to work together a lot. It was a very difficult process for her. However, it was at some point in January where my friends resolved to return to Australia and, start to, like, reach out to her network again,
Hmm.
was awakened. So she actually started to activate around her network, that in that area, that continent, Southeast Asia, etc., where she started to reach out to that network. And it's funny because now that you're mentioning it, I'm thinking, she started to get complacent with her situation. She was comfortable being where she was, and that foot stomper was like, no, 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 don't get comfortable. Like, it's time to start going back. She was talking about it, but she wasn't really serious. She wasn't really doing anything. But once that foot stomper stomped a lot, she was like, nope, it's time for me to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would be very easy to take the victim stance.
Yes.
It would be very easy to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
We
and
do
you know,
it. I've done it.
why is this happening to me? Thinking, well, why
Hmm.
not?
Hmm.
There is something to your benefit out of this situation.
Yeah. The
And
foot
just,
stomper
yeah.
is a co-creator. You know,
Yeah. And please elaborate.
the foot stomper is a co-creator. Like, the the higher energy or source energy within that foot stomper knows about my friend Lisa's deepest desire to return there. And so when that foot stomper's higher energy like realizing like I think she's here to stay, I think she's sticking around, but that's not her life journey. She's not supposed to stick around doing the work that's easy for her. She's supposed to move on to Australia and have an impact there, doing other. Actually, she's even changing the kind of work that she's doing, where she'll be helping people in larger organizations going through large transformations.
Well, I can't think of a
So
better time to be doing that.
yes, yes, So the foot stomper was actually also, whether she knew it or not, that foot stomper was acting at the deepest level of source energies movement of the way of life,
Hmm.
and fulfilled its role.
Hmm. Without a
So
doubt.
yeah,
Without a doubt, and it just takes a small shift in how you view the situation.
it does.
Um,
And that shift can start to create a momentum.
mhm,
First it's just like a small clump of snow, but like as you're rolling it around in that snow and it's sort of like picking up more, then you have a snowball, then you can
mhm,
create, a snowman, you can push it down a hill and create an avalanche. That momentum is really important, and it requires all of it. It requires a constant and consistent awareness that we're in a dance with the
mhm.
universe because we're part of that movement, So that's it. I think I've let it all out, Rhonda.
Let's hear it for co-creation.
I think that's it. And last week, I don't know if you shared it on the show. You have shared it in earlier shows that you have quiet time with your cats,
First thing in
and
the morning, yeah.
yeah, even that is a co-creation.
Well,
Like
they love it.
they love it, and you are
I love it.
creating. Yeah, you're creating vibrations of love together. And you're starting off the day right. Imagine the momentum of that feeling in your day every day.
Yeah, it's quite
So
a feeling, huh?
it's the best start to your day.
I
Your
posted,
pets must be co-creators.
oh, I know it. I posted something earlier today, and this whole topic kind of connects to it, and it's this guy Jim Palmer,
Uh-huh.
who, have you heard of him?
I have heard the name. But I'm not making a connection yet.
Years and years ago, he was a mega church minister,
Okay.
and now his focus is on non-religious spirituality.
Mm,
And
interesting.
I did a post because something I started following him, and his uh, his perspective is so educational and informative
Mm,
about how we've been, I'll keep it short, restricted over our lives and what we're taught early on.
mm-hmm,
And now he's, a lot of his discussions are about going within. I
mm,
feel that he does talk about co-creation
mm-hmm.
and how we can do and be anything that we want to be.
Yeah.
Um, and I just love listening to him. I really, really resonate. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
God, where were you 40 years ago? I probably wouldn't have been capable of understanding what he was saying. But I posted it on the Cooler Talk page, and the topic is not non-religious spirituality, and we're talking about that today too.
Hmm. Well, I
So,
can talk about it all day, every day.
oh, I can too. I can too. And it's so many. It's like unlearning the old and relearning what we were intended to be.
Mm,
And of course, the underlying foundation of all of it is love.
yes, yes.
And one of the things I heard it was saying, yeah, we're taught God first, God first, God first. You're there's something second, and you're third. You're not to be.
Hmm.
Um, your focus is to be out of yourself and worshiping something that you cannot see, touch, or heal, or see, touch, or feel. And when we're really supposed to be in touch with our spirits
Yep.
and experiencing life,
Yes.
evolving through life. Um, and that's just a very, very quick summary. But I happened to listen to that this morning while I was doing some kitty love, and I'm like, yes, yes. And he seems to answer a lot of questions I had when I was younger. I'm
Hmm.
like, all this stuff I was taught, why, when I go out into society, am I not seeing it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there was something else, of course, I ran across about um, why were we taught to put other people before ourselves?
Yep.
And that's not selfish, that's self-caring. You can't, if you have an empty vessel,
Yep.
there what
You
how can
can't serve anyone.
you can't serve or help anyone.
Yep.
So later in life, I'm finally getting some deeper understandings about things, and discarding other people's opinions and just focusing on what I resonate with.
Yep.
And it's kind of funny because when we resonate with something, it feels true.
Yes.
There's
And
no
it
conflict.
feels
It's
good.
peaceful. It feels
Yes.
good. It feels positive. There's no conflict, and it's peaceful.
Yeah.
So if we could just stop trying to tell everybody else what to think, do, and see, and focus on ourselves and
Yes.
our state of peace and truth, um, good things will happen.
Good things will happen. And again, there will be some people who um, haven't experienced or haven't internalized that understanding about, not bossing other people around and not stomping on other people's
Well, they
feet.
don't know
And
better.
they don't know better, and it's our job to realize, like, what is this person steering me towards? What have I distracted myself from? What
Yes,
is my true desire, my true
it is a
purpose?
distraction.
Because it is. And trust me, I've been distracted, and I'll probably still get distracted
I hear
by
you.
the foot stompers. But every time, this is the time to realize, like, next time I get my foot stomped on, instead of complaining and moaning with my friends about it, maybe I can kind of like say, like, oh, Cynthia, am I following my purpose, or am I allowing myself to be distracted?
Well, that
Um,
can be an aha moment.
exactly,
And
exactly. It
it's
was for
like,
my friend.
yeah, you've got to, it's like once one starts asking themselves, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
What is wrong with this picture?
Mm-hmm.
It's worth investigating.
Yeah. And your life. You are not separate from the universe. You are not separate from your life. Life isn't happening to you. It's happening with you. It's happening for you. So,
Yeah.
and if you really don't know, ask the universe.
You are part of God. You are part of Source.
We are
You are part
extension.
of all of it.
Yes. So
And
ask,
yeah.
what am I
So
supposed to get out of this moment? Like, what am I supposed to understand here?
yeah. Well, look, and like Jim Palmer said, in this world of instant gratification, you're not going to get an answer right away.
No.
But the minute you put it out there, things will start working, and you'll start noticing things, and you'll
Yeah.
eventually start seeing connections.
Oh,
Because that's
yes.
how it happened for me over the years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what that means.
And sometimes those connections are blatantly clear, like they're
Yes, sometimes they
undeniably,
are. Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. So I
Rhonda,
guess
we
we'll
hit our
end on that
time.
note.
Yeah. We hit our time, but
Yeah, well, we're
yeah,
co-creators whether we want to be or not.
yes. Yes,
So
we are.
focus on what you want to create, what you want to co-create
That's right.
in this life.
That's right. With that, I think we're going to bid y'all adieu.
Yeah.
Until next week, we're going to be in September,
Oh,
and we'll
yes,
see you
and you have a lot going on in September.
I do.
Yeah,
And
cool.
yeah. So see you next week, Thursday, 9:30. Cooler Talk with Rhonda and Cynthia.